Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report. We have quite a number of frontline changes over the past 48 hours. We have frontline changes over at Kupyansk, Stelmakhivka, Terny, Druzhba, Novotoretsk, Svatove, Novodimitrivka, Maximilianivka, Kostiantynivka, Ukrainka, Maximilianivka, Yasna Polyana, and Shetaski. So we're going to jump to Kupyansk first. So over at the Kupyansk front, there is Russian forces geolocated north of this forest, and this means that the Russian forces have advanced a little bit and invalidating some of the Ukrainian claims in the region of Kupyansk, which is over here. Of course, this area here could also potentially be part of Petropavlivka. So yeah, but they're just nearby, so it could be this or that. So the Russians are pushing Kupyansk or Kupyansk at the same time. So that's the front line change over in the Kupyansk front coming from Sinkivka. So the next front line change is over at Stelmakhivka. If you move further south, so over at Stelmakhivka, the Russian forces, Russian forces advance based on geolocation in the southwest of Stelmakhivka. So they are moving towards Lozova, is over here, which we see a lot of reports of fighting at Lozova. So we shall wait and see and know how this continue to develop. Now we move next from Stelmakhivka to Terny. So at Terny, there's a major frontline update in this area. This is part of the Crimea front. So this is Crimea front, and Terny is here. So at Terny region, there is two separate updates. Geolocation first. There's these geolocations over in the northwestern part of the Terny settlement. This confirmed Russian advance in this area. Then after that, Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has conceded that the entire outskirt, the countryside northeast of Terny, has entirely fallen to the Russian forces. And this is a logical change because if the Russians are here, then the entire region northeast of Terny is unlikely to have Ukrainian forces because it is basically an envelopment or an encirclement, and this way too far from resupply. So yeah, so this is a sensible change. This is a huge amount of ground change. Just this Ukrainian concession is 6.36 kilometers. It's a huge amount of ground, not losing to the Donetsk front's collapse. So this is actually quite big as well. Just that the mapping, the satellite imagery on this region here, it looks more squished. So you can see how small the house is. It's just barely a footstop. If you zoom in a bit, you can see the house better. You can see this a huge amount of rounds. So that's the front line change over at Terny. So the next front line change after Terny is Druzhba. So Druzhba is part of the New York front, and some updates coming from the Ukrainian mapping. So actually, this also can be considered the south of the Bakhmut front. So just orientate for those that are not familiar. This is Toretsk, this is New York, and this is Bakhmut. So we are now here. This is Mayorsk, and this is Druzhba Pivnishny. And so along this canal, the Russian forces have taken all these positions. This is based on Ukrainian mapping, and we haven't have any updates of this region for a long time. So this is a first update in a long time, and this comes in the eastern outskirts of Druzhba. So yeah, very sensible change as well. Sensible actions from the Russians to straighten the front line. So we shall continue to see whether this will develop into some kind of a major offensive from the Russians to push up towards Dilievka, and we shall or this Dilievka, depending on which Dilievka you prefer. So that's all from New York front and at Mayorsk. The next front line change is over at Novotoretsk. So this is a small front line change over in the Pokrovsk sector, Pokrovsk front. This is Pokrovsk front, and in the Novotoretsk region, there was geolocation of Russian forces attacking Ukrainian positions. So they were attacking north of the trench. Basically, this is a frontline change. Minimal. The Russians already claimed this area, so this is just an invalidation of Ukrainian claims. After Novotoretsk, the next frontline change is at Selidove. So in the northwest of Selidove, so there is this change in the northwest just a small change. This is based on Russian claims as the Russians continue to make advance uh, in this Selidove region as they want to push out from the city. After Selidove, the next front line change is south at Novodemitrivka. So as the Russians continue to advance towards Zoria, they haven't even captured Novodemitrivka yet. So the latest front line change suggests that the Russians have captured more of Novodemitrivka, reaching the center of the village, and they have also secured the highway in the north. So that's about it. Small change, and so we move on. And after Novodemitrivka, the next frontline change is over at Maximilianivka. So this is one major frontline change. This is 4.87 square kilometers, and you can see how big was the Terny one. The Terny is actually much bigger. So in the south of Georgievka and Maximilianivka, there's Maximilianivka and this Georgievka. Russian forces have captured the entire highway region and secured the entire southern outskirt of Maximilianivka and also the south of Georgievka. So this is some major change, and this mapping is from the Ukrainian mapping. So this is actually confirmed. As the Russians continue to create buffer, so long gone were the day where we talk about Marinka, and then they got stuck at Georgievka. We have even seen now the Russians taking Maximilianivka. Times have really changed. So that's all from this area. The next frontline change is over at Kostiantynivka. North of Kostiantynivka, just small change. Ukrainian mapping considered this area. So that's all. And then the next frontline change is over in this freaking zone. This is part of the Uspenivka sector. And this front line is a massive crazy. So in the latest update, this is the latest Ukrainian mapping. The Russian forces have confirmed to have captured Yasno Polyana, and they have also straightened the front line as I have predicted. And they have now entered into Maximivka. So then along with the previous update the previous day, where they link up Novo-Ukrainka and Bohofivlenka, where they straighten the front line, the Russian forces have made a mass frontal advance all across the entire front line, and they're going to straighten the front line all the way to Trudove. So the most advanced position is just south of Trudove, where they are way too far ahead. So you can see the Russians need to catch up and straighten the front line first. And the fighting is still reported at Shatarsky. So this is a massive front line change in this area here. So and they have entered into one of the streets of Maximivka already. This is according to the Ukrainian mapping, and the Russians have captured the entire of Yasna Polyana. So that's all. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.